I mean, you put it on Twitter. We did surprise live drop.
Hey, did you see my channel? Was it BBC on the Man with Many Wives?
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mamluks podcast. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts Mort and Maheen.
Hey, assalamu alaikum.
That's
Assalamu
Mort.
alaikum.
That's Maheen. We have a wonderful episode for you guys this evening. And before we get started, help us out on patreon.com/donate. Sorry, I just butchered that. Patreon.com/the Mad Mamluks. And make sure you click on like and subscribe and comment on your thoughts related to this show. We have really special guests for you guys all the way from the UK. Big mover and shaker. His name is MIZAN Raja. I gave him the name the Muslim Valentine because he's very involved in helping a lot of young people, young and old people, to get married. And he's featured. Articles are featured all over many Muslim websites, Muslim matrimonial websites. He's a frequent commentator in that arena and a big mover and shaker in the UK. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen out there. Thank you.
Let's just get started. What would you suggest?
Shall I look at you or shall I?
You can look anywhere you want.
Look
Okay,
anywhere you
cool.
want.
Okay.
The camera will pick it up.
Camera, pick it up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, the camera's right on you, so whichever way you look.
Wherever I look. Okay.
You're not nervous, are you?
No.
Okay,
I'm a daily to the.
'Cause
the
we
news.
tend to make people nervous sometimes.
No. Look, when you're on, when
You
you're
might get
regular,
cancelled.
when you're a regular on the Daily Mail,
Okay.
and what is it? The
No,
BBC
but you might get
doing-
cancelled, you know, because we're known to be the cancel squad.
That's fine. I cancel the cancellers and say then join
Being
me.
associated with this guy means you're going to get cancelled for sure.
Yalla, bismillah. Let's start.
Yeah.
So,
Just tell us a little bit about yourself. A lot of the people in America aren't familiar with you, but
Yeah.
I know you're very well known in the UK and very prominent on that scene.
alhamdulillah. So yeah, I do a lot of Muslim activity sort of stuff, and it's
Sexual
not-
activity? Well, what kind of activities?
So one of the projects, or one of the things myself and my colleague, we did set up, was the whole Muslim matrimonial scene. So this is again, one has to remember, around 20 years ago, when most of us were in our mid-20s, coming out of university or something like that, you know. We became professionals and we were quite conservative. We were part of the Salafiyya or the Tahrir or part of whichever Muslim group that
I was with HT.
That's fine. All of us were part of
I
everything.
still carry many of their ideas.
That's
Full
absolutely
disclaimer.
fine. I mean, it's all good. Alhamdulillah. It's what you make of it at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so my circles in London was probably the biggest. It's late 1990s. We used to invite everyone. So one week we used to have a Salafi chap, a speaker. Another week we used to have a HT person. Another week we had to have a Sufi. So we didn't really bother. And everyone used to think, this guy's crazy. Why is he allowing everyone and anyone, you know, every week? And we used to have about 100 people every week in our halakas. So, and it's obvious, right? Anyone who comes every week to your halakas, they're professionals or they're educated Muslims. And remember, this is late 1990s, early 2000, post 9/11. The Muslim community is on high. It wants to learn religion. It's really interested. It's very active. People also used to come for looking for a spouse, right? At the end of the day, coming to a gathering. So this is the same time single Muslims set up. So we also set up something called Muslim marriage events, the event structure. So we had public discussions about what do we do, how do we go forward. So Adeem set up single Muslims, which is fantastic. If you like it or not, it's a different thing. It's your choice. We set up something called Muslim matrimonial events, which became eventually the biggest events organizing, just focused on events, service in the Muslim world. And we've done events all across the Muslim world, not just the West.
No.
In America, we've done quite a lot, and we do it regularly in the UK. And we've done it in Europe, Paris, Holland, Germany, in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Which is another story which I'll talk about. And so we started off as all Muslims in the first couple of years, and then we started to categorize according to age, categorize according to race, categorize according to status, because we find that more productive. Over the years, we probably Through our service, it's around 200,000 people have come through. We've had around 16,000 marriages, alhamdulillah.
Wow.
You know, we keep a good record, alhamdulillah.
That's
Every
pretty
event.
good record.
You
15,000
know,
marriages.
no, but alhamdulillah, the point of the matter is, you know, look, the aim and objective, we're a community organisation.
How many of them are polygamous marriages?
Oh, we'll talk about that as well. You know, the Daily Mail, and I've actually done a lot of BBC documentaries on Reuters and Al Jazeera,
Oh wow.
Dutch TV about the polygamy service. We've also done
Wow.
through our
Wow.
service.
You should link us to that, so in the description we can put it in there. for
Yeah. I mean,
people,
if you just Google or YouTube "men with many wives,"
Oh wow, I like that.
that's at about some like 10 million, 7 million.
Of men and wives, like
Men
of
with
my-
many wives.
Men with many
Yeah.
wives. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting documentary.
I wonder if it's a concubine option, because some of us don't want to commit to a wife, but a concubine maybe less.
You know what?
Yani, Commit.
The documentary makers initially they came with a very skeptical mind, and usually when you have the Daily Mail, it's usually a Jeanette, it's usually like Jane or Jeanette who's had a broken heart. She likes this brown guy with some
Yeah.
ideas. Eventually, she opens up saying, "Oh, MIZAN, I'm only doing this documentary because I want to get back to my boyfriend, and I like what you're doing. I want to be a part-time husband. So why don't you just become a Muslim, become a part-time wife, love? Makes your life easy. Stop faking the Daily Mail article that everything's happening, right? I don't know why people do this
Yeah.
because it comes every year. Every year they do this. Have you noticed that? The Daily Mail or the Daily Trash,
Yeah.
somewhere in America or the UK,
Yeah.
polygamy halal, Muslim.
Yes,
You
yeah.
know, the
You know,
kids-
when I was in college, I think I was just 18. Mort remembers this. I was head over heels over this girl, and she
Yeah.
was from your country,
Yeah.
UK. I actually flew down over there to propose to her, meet with her family. Stuff. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
But I'm bringing this up because first, a lot of the kids my age back then, they were doing much more interesting things like, flying all over the world and learning knowledge and seeking knowledge. And
He was chasing women.
I was just seeking love.
No,
you
see,
know?
people do two things at once. So, like for example, when we organize,
I liked all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the brothers would
Yeah.
be talking about many different adventures. They want to go and learn with the murabitun and I don't know all these
Bro,
tunes
most of
and
these
teens.
conferences were matrimonial conferences.
But,
Say what?
Come on, when you go to an ISNA conference or when you call for the Khilafah conference, right? For example, right? We know
You were trying to be a khilaf of your own house.
basically you want to be
Yeah.
a Khalif of your house.
Yeah.
So that's
I
essentially
mean,
what it
that's
is.
the reality. And,
The reality
and you're right.
is,
And,
yeah.
and I think that ISNA itself, and if we're going to be quite frankly honest here, a lot of us would go
It's a
to
grand
the
bazaar,
and just to walk around
Yeah.
and see what cake was walking around. You know what I mean? Like that was the
Absolutely
whole
right.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
hey, who's the prospect?
Absolutely.
Right?
And we try to formalize it.
Yeah.
So
And then the problem, but see, that's the problem, because I think that people in my generation, at least around my circles, they like the informality where it was the game, it was the catch, right?
Yeah.
Like
It's
if
a game,
you-
right?
The minute they made it formal, it was like, oh man,
Yeah.
they just ruined the
but
fun
we
of it.
formalized
you
it, and
know?
I'm
Yeah.
going to talk about the formalization,
Yeah.
right? So you know when we started off our events, we had because we're a community organization, so we have and I work full time. So I used to work at a news company and I got
Yeah.
my own business consultancies and I still do my own stuff. But and the community project is called Islamic Circles, and we have
Okay.
many sub projects, and one of them was called Muslim Marriage Events, and we had a couple of objectives. Some of the ulama we consulted, and also as community leaders. So for us, when we started off our events, we had three main objectives. Number one was anyone who comes to our events, they would have they would improve their understanding about relationship, because remember in the 1990s, early noughties, this is when Sex in the City was high, Bridget Jones was having an impact, you know, and the idea of metrosexual world was starting. There was no red pill. Okay, there was no there's
So
no
the whole
Jibreel,
conversation
there's
about
no
sexuality
Abu
was-
American, there's none of these people
Yeah.
now, Mahdi Tijani types, you know, we were there cleaning up, doing the stuff week in, week out, you know, introducing. So number one, understanding relationships, because we're coming out of university, we're going to work, working at these big corporates, we don't know about relationships, right? You know?
Right.
The other thing which was really problematic, and one of the objectives of these marriage events was how to communicate with the opposite gender.
Yeah.
This is a key thing. It's not that you weren't meeting people. Everybody was dating, right? They were meeting, but they didn't finesse the communication, right? So we wanted to highlight and advise people and teach people how to, you know, from the prophetic tradition, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and how to improve the communication with the opposite gender. Because the problem with the Muslim community was, oi, how's it going, love? You know, oi. You know, or the sister would say, brother, you need to give me romantic talk. You need to do that. Really? Do I really need to do that? So a lot of people were
There was idea of looking at the old generation where the expected behavior among each other.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, why should I do that? She's my wife.
Yeah.
Like, or she should do that. I mean, you know, and I think that you're absolutely right. And I think that
We didn't have emasculated men then.
Right.
We had more
That's the
emasculated men.
Right. And I think that was the issue where I think maybe, you know, because I look at our old generation and I'll tell you right now, I don't think I've ever seen my father hug my mom in front of me.
Yeah. Never.
Have you?
Never kissed, never hugged, never said I
maybe-
love you.
Maybe like once or maybe
Yeah.
like twice.
Never,
Yeah.
Have you ever heard your parents say I love you?
No.
Have you ever heard your parents say, you know, darling?
I think maybe before my dad went for like open heart, for like a bypass surgery, like on the angioplasty, maybe at that time like I love your mother, take care of her. Okay, that was it.
But he told you that. He didn't tell. Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's because he was probably in the hospital.
Right.
It's a different thing.
In those rare moments,
Right.
where those and that's when those words meant something.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, I feel like that it's just not to get too much off topic, but today, since we're so tapped into our feelings, words are so cheap that anyone says everything. Like these things about speak your truth.
Yeah.
Say what you want.
Yeah.
This pain inside of you. What are you talking about? dude?
Emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
You
not
know,
emotionally opening up.
Words
to
are
you.
violence.
The emotional intelligence
Emotional
is over.
intelligence, yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
not denying it exists, but it's so exaggerated that now it's moved from, well, if you don't understand my emotional intelligence, you're emotionally unavailable.
But you have to understand where it came from. Remember, a lot of our
Neglect.
women in the 1990s were affected by the movements in the 60s and 70s, right? The feminist movement, sexual liberalization. Add that to the Bollywood, Pinky, My Foot, you know, Kuchu Kuchu.
That's what it
Hota
was,
Hai,
Bollywood. They thought that
No, but
men-
also we have to look at this is another thing which I bring up with a lot of Arab ulama, which I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about how when we categorize our events and we found certain traits of certain Muslim communities to be shocking. We have in our tradition, for some strange reason, modern ulama have raised the benchmark of these sisters to such a high level they can do no wrong.
Oh, preach on, my brother.
You know, to like,
Preach on.
they are sahabiyat plus extra. So if they're fart, right, it's like a blessed fart. You know? I say, Imam Sahib, what
They
are you
have golden
talking about?
vaginas.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
right.
what it is.
Yeah,
And
they
if-
can do no harm.
No harm.
They can do no wrong.
Do you
they
know
can have
that
a
you don't
PhD?
have? Yeah, no, I'll hate this. Do you know that we don't have to cook if we don't want to?
Yeah.
Do you know that you know the prophet used to sew his own buttons?
So uncle
do you
say
know?
exactly, and then say uncle, but you're saying your daughter doesn't have to do this, but what does your wife do? When the roti is not in house,
Yeah.
uncle, what happens? You explode, right?
Yeah.
So why are you saying that for?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, so in the 1990s, a lot of these sisters took on the princess, took on these feminized approach to Islamic theology.
Yep.
And then as a result, what do you expect in the mid noughties? Spinsterhood increased. We have an increased number of divorced women because whenever these women, you know, were getting khola or they were getting divorced, they couldn't hack a relationship because at the end of the day, they had no concept of sticking through thick and skin, right?
And another thing, though, also, I mean, just to be fair here, there were a lot of guys, and you have to understand something. We talked about this a little bit before the show. You are living in a different society.
Absolutely.
Women are used to seeing a different kind of relationship.
Yeah.
If you, as a man, are not aware of that cultural difference, and she's not getting it home, she's gonna be unhappy.
Bro, you know one thing we've realized from the event. So you know, like, so we started off the events. Okay, and the way we do our events is very simple: icebreakers in groups.
Yeah.
There'll be profiles, and there'll be a badge, B1 to S1 or something like that.
Kind of like a chess, right?
It's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you catch my drift.
Before
But
you
yeah.
get there,
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, have you ever met Baba Ali?
Yeah, Baba, yeah, I know
Baba Ali, he does similar things.
We do
where
similar
he's-
things, yeah.
He organizes games on tables.
We don't do games and tables.
Okay.
Which is what we do is very simple.
I feel like there's already enough games with sisters. You know,
Yeah.
you don't need to play more
You don't
games
have
with
to.
them.
We just go directly. We just go
a joke.
directly. It's a profile. You choose who you want to. It's a bit like a shopping market. It is at the end of the day.
But beforehand, you pick, or it's like you go like you have a program going on tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we
In
have a big
Chicago.
program tomorrow, and we have an app. We have an event app in the program which does the matchmaking.
so it's for polygamous men too.
No, so what? It's for everyone. It's everyone. We do. Have,
He wanted me to ask that.
So-
we have an option.
No,
the
I'll be
single
there.
married
I'm gonna be.
divorces
It's
are-
gonna be close to Dr. Brown's seminar.
It's going to be whilst the Dr. Brown seminar is going on.
In the same area?
In the same area, yeah.
So I'll just pop out over there. I'll happen to get lost.
Very convenient to pick up a second wife on the way
No,
home.
I got a maid, man.
Wife.
I told my wife tomorrow night, me and my other friend who's also married, we're about to hit up the study hadith seminar with Sheikh Akram and Dr. Brown, and then just conveniently get lost and go to your thing.
Go to my thing, not a problem, welcome. But look, I want to explain, look, what's happened. And it's something very important, which, because we're the biggest events organizer. So Babar, mashallah, does a fantastic stuff, right? And Single Muslims, Adeem does a fantastic stuff with Single Muslims, which is essentially an online database and app. Yeah. The guy who runs Muzmatch used to come to my events. Shazad, and he's a fantastic guy. Yeah. I don't care. I know there's a lot of red pill Muslim folks who don't like him. And I tell them, look, you're armchair philosophers. You've just jumped onto the bandwagon.
They don't like him, or they don't like Muzmatch?
They don't like Muzmatch. They don't like Muzmatch.
He's an entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur. Created something that people are doing anyways.
Success. Exactly. At the end of the day, he's doing a good job against the backdrop of people like Match.com who want to control data of the Muslim community, and that's not acceptable.
I think you made a good point here, because it's not his fault that Muslims are swiping.
Yeah, it's not Muslims' fault.
Right.
In fact, who are the designers of swipe technology?
Right.
You find a Khan and Amir behind it. You know,
and probably if they weren't on Minder or Muzmatch or whatever, they'll be on Tinder.
Yeah, I mean,
and every Chad's going to be through them.
Yeah, every Chad will through them. But I think part of the problem, we need to move away from armchair critiques and armchair philosophers at the moment, and that's the problem with the Muslim red pill movement at the moment. You know, the Muslim feminist movement is a different ball game. But what we find, and this is something I want to share. You see, when you have a live environment, you see people's characters as opposed to an app, a static app. You see, when you have an event app and a live event, you see how they behave right in front of you, and we capture that data. Okay, this is something very different from what Babar does, or Muzmatch does, or even Single Muslims does. And they're fantastic, and more than married. Remember, there's about 2 billion Muslims. We can't get everyone married, okay, at the end of that. And marriage events or apps, it's not for everyone. It's a complementary service to what's out there. However, there were some traits we saw which are very worrying. No different from modern society as we become more... how shall I say? You know, we've become religiously more conservative, alhamdulillah, religiously more aware, but we've lost those values of being good human beings for some strange reason in the Muslim community. Common sense. So interestingly, we've seen the increasing number of late women in their 30s and 40s not getting married. We've seen an increasing number of women in their 40s who are going through midlife crisis and wanting khula and want divorce. There used to be an issue with guys 10 years ago. I don't think there's an issue with Muslim men.
What were the issues?
Okay, the issues of Muslim men being lazy, being very misogynistic. There was an issue of misogyny amongst Muslim men, and we have to accept that. Yep. There was the issues of Muslim men smelling, not looking after themselves, not grooming, not thinking. And there are issues. There are some guys who should really get off your backside. Don't be on a screen 24/7. Go on a horse, do some archery, go and get go and sort your life out. Have some masculinity traits. You know what Jibril is doing and others are doing.
There's too many of those, brother. There's just so many men who are just children. They're living they don't want responsibility. They want all the benefits of marriage. But no, I'm not saying all men, of course, right?
Yeah. But they've been damaged as well, because mainstream society, through The Simpsons, through South Park, Peppa Pig. Why is the father pig always dumb? Hello, Daddy.
Another thing about
my
that.
kid watches that, so I should prevent them from watching that.
No. But you catch my drift. But the interesting.
Well, there's got pig anyways. Why are you watching pigs?
Pigs in South. But the dynamics are interesting. Look, when we used to do all Muslims, it never used to work. You had a room of 800 people, 500 people, 30 people, 40 people in the room. You got women who are in the 40s and 50s. Now we've got a huge number of 60, 70-year-old chaps coming and ladies coming to our matrimony events because they're divorcing, because after 20, 30 years, the children...
Basically, the kids left.
The kids left, and
Then they realized they hated each other.
Yeah, they hate each other.
The woman just got woke and got money.
Got money. And sometimes we got some people who are religiously conservative. They want to get their children, 20-year-old, get married very quickly for some strange reason. Fine, not a problem. There's pros and cons to it. But interesting, these are the dynamics... we've seen. Now, without a doubt, the age of marriage for the ladies has gone up from 24, 25 to something like 27 and so on, and it's having an impact. People do prefer the race. People do still prefer their race, which is natural. So their seeds will always go for their seeds, and there's nothing racist about it. It's just preference.
Right.
It's preference. And also, when the shit hits the fan, you're not going to go to a black guy, right, father, or black mother's mother and saying, can you sort it out? You're not going to go to the Arab chap mother and saying, look, your daughter's going out of line. Reality is you're going to be better, you're more likely to engage someone from your same culture, and you're more likely to get a result, right? And more likely to get some sort of mediation. There's an understanding, there's a cultural...
Urf, right?
Urf, exactly. Yeah. And the challenge is people say, what's the urf in the West? Well, we've got to decide that, right?
There's subcultures, right?
There's subcultures, exactly.
I would, and that's a good point, because... You know,
and we've got to discuss it. We can't keep on going
in
on about Islam culture, it's haram. So we get a lot of these sisters coming along, hijabi, non-hijabi. They'll make a big issue. Islam and culture. I don't want Islam and culture. Islam and culture. Islam. And guess what happens?
They're alone on the
No. On the day of the wedding, we'll have in one of the discussions. They want to have curry.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You know, they want to have curry. They want to wear the shalwar, the red dress and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously they want to impose it on the guests.
And
the guests are expecting baked potatoes or something.
No, but do you know how many women I've seen from different backgrounds will force their non-cultural man to wear cultural garments uncomfortably for 8 hours in the wedding?
Bro, you know the best
What
event?
happened to we don't want culture? I don't want your culture.
The best event is the converts event. So we used to do things.
I feel bad for those guys. They're so awkward. Have you seen a white groom at like a Pakistani Indian wedding?
Oh,
he's moving his turban around. He's sweating.
Insult or what? I mean, the converts. So we do events for converts. We do it for over 30s, under 30s, Pakistani one, Bengali one. We do a practicing event because you know what? This is like. In the noughties when Al Maghrib and all these institutions were going there and everyone was going, so we thought, you know, might as well do a practicing. People used to come for practicing people. Then guess what they used to think they come for? They just basically, the guys with the big beards will just go for the most beautiful ones without no hijabs. We'll have no hijab is turning up, right? No hijab is turning up. So you come to a practicing event and then the girls who are in their 40s will come to the practicing event. They say, where are the guys in my age? Well, wait, you're practicing. You should go for something 20 years younger, right?
So I'm going to say this. I think, and
they
people,
don't do that.
People are going to be very upset with this. I'm going to say this. Okay.
All right.
This is where we go in a little bit. Okay.
Oh boy. We
no
lost
matter
enough
whether
followers.
you are,
All right. Let's make sure we timestamp this later to send to like the haters, just so for the haters give convenient timestamps.
So I'm saying, no matter whether you're
us.
Muslim or Christian, there are certain
traits,
dynamics between male and women, male and female.
Absolutely right.
Males want women that are attractive
and younger.
They want women that are younger, attractive, and bottom line is that the older you are as a woman, the less, I don't want to say value, but the attractiveness for a male, the incentive to get married to you is lower. And if you add divorce and kids, that makes it even harder. It's just the reality.
It's reality.
Right? And so that's for women, right? So and this is how I look at it like this. Women are inherently born with value.
Absolutely.
Because they have beauty and they have a womb. Right? This is value.
But that's the bottom line.
Right.
And we've seen that in our events.
Right.
We've seen that proof in the pudding with these so-called practicing Muslims, so-called Muslims, they're doing the namaz, they're doing their salah, reading the Quran, and guess what? They go for the most beautiful body-looking woman for that.
And the other thing is for men, we don't have any value in women.
We have to grind.
We have to go out and grind and
so
work and
many
prove.
good guys get rejected because they're younger, they're not established, they're 24, 25, they're not established. The sister will look at him thinking, but what's he bringing on the table? Well, what are you bringing on the table? Because you don't have to do any dishwashing because you got a dishwasher. You don't have to cook because you can go to the local halal market and get all your food done. So what's the value add you're bringing?
But here's the thing. Okay, I've been to events with Baba Ali, and I've talked to many men over there.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to him before. So he has this thing where there's like a mixer at the end where you approach different sisters and you talk to them. And I kind of give them a little bit of advice, and I'm like, hey, talk about what you're interested in. Like, give me your hobbies, you know? And I swear to God, every single guy I'm talking to, it's only like Netflix TV shows that they talk about.
You can script it.
There's nothing interesting about them.
No, there isn't. But it's no different from the sisters. They will all say the same thing. I go to the
K-pop?
gym. K-pop. I go to the gym every day. Really? You go to the gym every day? Okay. If you look at them,
how can we look like a fridge?
I like to have a healthy. I like to have a healthy lifestyle. I eat healthy, and I love you. No, you're 100% right now.
And another phenomenon with apps.
Yeah.
The cat woman.
Oh yeah, these pictures.
I mean, some of them have dogs, right?
Yeah.
But cats. and dogs.
Yeah.
As your
Oh, I
profile
thought you were
picture.
talking about catfishing.
No, catfishing.
Oh.
Because we have an app in the event, and practically most of the ladies who come with their will have, because what it is, we have circles, and then our matchmaking is done via our app. They choose who they want to meet because the app. You can press the button.
Yeah.
And when they upload their photos, most of the women tend to have pictures with their cats.
Animal
And you think
fetish,
there's-
yeah,
Sometimes they have
Yeah.
dogs. And I think to myself, why are you coming to
Well,
an
I'm
event
Maliki,
to show
so
your...
it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, but, you know, I'm a Maliki sister. I got a dog with me. You know what I mean?
The best ones are the pictures which are 20 years old.
Oh yeah.
Or when they
yeah.
were 3-year-old.
That's another thing too.
Yeah.
But I will say this one. Back to what I was mentioning earlier was that when you mentioned that a lot of men get rejected when they don't have a lot, and look, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Men have to prove their value. I'm big on men proving value.
Yeah.
When the reality, if we're going to be interested in sex and babies,
Yeah.
they're interested in security and money.
Absolutely right.
That's just the dynamics.
That's just
right?
reality.
Women
Yeah, it's
are
biology.
it's the biology, and because they need that. See, what a lot of women don't understand about men is when we meet you for the first time, we don't care about your accolades. I don't care about your degree. I don't care about how much money you
But
make.
the sad reality is that no one is teaching them. You sit
Well,
down...
that's why you gotta.
No,
That's
but-
why
but-
guys
teaching
go
them.
to like Rolo
Yeah.
Tomasi.
But
Rolo
the-
Tomasi.
Hasn't that
right.
changed as well, though? I think a lot of guys want dual income wives.
Yeah.
There are a lot
there
of men
are.
who
They do.
want.
Now let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
That is true. That's a growing trend now. But why is that? It's because men have become emasculated.
Emasculated, but also
If-
the economic system is actually pushing them.
But I'll tell you
the
something.
economic system makes more money
It
having
does.
two people
But
working.
But before you go into
Yeah.
establish the frame here, like number one, as Mort was saying, because I think Rolo Tomasi says basically,
Yep.
women are, men have to become.
Yeah. Well, there's a famous
what I'm
saying
saying?
which
Oh,
I
that's
say.
true, yeah.
You
You
know,
know.
I really like Jemin Gray's statement. The problem
Who's
with
this?
today's she's a leading feminist.
Devin Gray.
No, Jermaine Greer. She
Okay.
says, look, the men have become the women they want to marry, and the women have become the men they want to marry.
That's very true.
And that's one of the leading feminists in the world.
Yeah, because
and,
the
I said
career-
that, and I said that in the Guardian.
Yeah.
And the amount of abuse I got from Muslim women.
That's so brilliant.
You see,
because
when
the
because
women,
I was featured in a documentary.
But you're quoting a feminist who said that.
And I'm
Why are you
quoting a
getting grief?
feminist.
You must
I'm
be a
getting
feminist.
no, but they're saying Mizan is correct, but because he should know better. So next thing I know it, I think I'm looking at the Guardian, right? And you know the Guardian loves Muslims, right? You know anything got to do with victim mentality to the standard. Oh, you know the Muslims. Oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
We feel sorry for them.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
got to empower them.
Victimhood.
You know, and only the left can actually help them. Okay. I mean, would you expect with the Daily Mail? We're interested, and we realise from the Daily Mail reporters really they're just insecure about themselves when they're
Right.
writing about polygamy and Muslim marriages. But the Guardian did an article on me and quoted me quoting this feminist. The amount of abuse I got from Muslim women, unbelievable. 500 comments.
but you know what though? I could care less who said it. It's spot on. Women have become these career
Yeah.
out there. They're being educated further and
Yeah.
more. They're achieving higher in corporate worlds. At least in America, it's true. While men are becoming domesticated.
Yeah.
They can't fix anything. They can't do anything. They want to be
Well, they're
house
not allowed
husbands.
to.
They want to walk around with fake breasts and breastfeed the babies, right? I mean, this is the reality,
No,
right?
but the thing is, you see some of these YouTube channels, right, of some sisters having a joke at their husbands. Astaghfirullah, what is this? Have a joke with your husband in your own private space. Don't put it on your Instagram. Don't make him look like an idiot.
Look, if my wife disrespects me in public, we're gonna have problems.
Unfortunately,
That's just the reality it
This
is.
is the reality, right? This is the
Because that means that the respect that should be there. And here's the worst part about it. What women don't realize is that we can let things slip, but it's about respect. Like if your husband publicly humiliated you in public, how would
Yeah.
you feel about that?
Absolutely right. You should be angry. She'll call the police.
And it's normalized.
Coercion control, blah, blah, blah. She'll say emotional abuse. Next thing you know, you got a non-molestation order against you, right?
Yep. Right. Exactly. And this
Wait,
is
what's a
normalized
non-molestation
behavior.
order?
An order. What is it?
We have.
That must be a
Constraint-
restriction order.
Registration.
Restraining order.
Restraining order.
Restraining order.
That must be a
Restraining
British
order, yeah.
thing.
Right. So, but you're right though, because you know what? Even and this goes back to the point we we're talking about earlier, in that little pig show you're talking about, right? Where the men, it's okay to mock men.
Yeah.
And if humiliate them.
Yeah.
Emasculate them, but it's not okay to do that with women.
Yep.
And even now in Hollywood and all these movies, you always see it's always this like extra testosterone female lead that will tell men, hey, I can challenge you, I can do that. You know, oh yeah, let the woman do it right better than you and do it. You'll notice these little subtle cues in the whereas men are just dumb beasts who just happen to have more muscle fiber,
and the sad
bigger
reality
brain, but they're just dumb beasts.
It's filtered into the Muslim community, and we see this in our events. So when we see in our events, the best profiles, written profiles, are the women. Men, they can't even spell, they can't grammatically put anything, they can't be bothered, right? But sometimes you can understand why, because at the end, I'm a man. Take me through who I am. Here's my photo. This is who I am. I'm going to be my basics. It's not a judgment call. But so the other thing which I wanted, you actually can see the performance and the behavior of the men in the events as well. You really do see a large number of good Muslim men. These are good men. I used to hear about. You remember, we all grew up with Bridget Jones, right? Sex in the City. But
I've never watched that show. By the way.
So Bridget Jones is like Bridget Jones. Okay, so Bridget Jones is well-known spinster. The gaudy spinster.
So living the life in New York City, right? That's the whole
Similar
thing,
sort of
right?
thing, exactly.
The whole glamour life.
How many of us?
cosmopolitan,
I remember that film, The Male 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I love that movie.
Remember that? Yeah. I used to laugh at that. I used to think, these these non-Muslims and these white folks. It's their problem.
It's not in our community.
No, it's a huge problem in our community.
Yeah.
So in these events, they come along. You'll see these brothers who are accountants, lawyers. They're like, Brother Mizan, what do I do? What do I do? What do you mean? What do you do? Bloody, if you want to meet her, go up to her and say, hello, love. Let's sit down and talk.
Right.
But now
Sim mentioned that when he went to these matrimony, if I was at this matrimony event, I would have a ring in my back pocket.
The question is, where are the parents? Where are the imams? Where are these big Muslim charities? Where are they?
Yeah.
Wait, what do you want for the charities to do?
Listen, man, I have a theory, okay, and it's very controversial.
Uh-oh. I like it already.
And I don't care what people say, and I say that publicly all the time in my circles in London. The emasculation of the Muslim community is happening because it suits certain economic paradigms of certain Muslim organizations.
Yeah.
When you have, and there's nothing wrong with, if your base is predominantly female and they are paying your wages, right? You're not going to, rock the boat, whether it's an institution. Why do you feel when you go to an Al-Maghrib course or a Fulani course, or you go to a XYZ, 90% are who?
Fiqh of love.
Fiqh of love are what? Women. Where are the brothers? And in these instances,
No, it's not 90%. There is majority. 90% is a little.
70%. Right, and the 30% of guys are already married, or the brothers. So they're probably the brothers of the ladies.
Let me ask you. Okay, let me.
And then they end up coming to me and saying, "Oh, Mizan, you just happened to be there. Can you matchmake?" I'm saying, "Look, they didn't ask me to do a matchmaking event in the event." Right, to catch my drift, and this is something problematic. I tell you why.
So real quick. So does that always? Because so I agree with you.
We're not picking on Al Maghrib.
No, but
it's
in
the
general,
same with all the same.
So
whether it's Zaytuna, whether it's XYZ, it's all the same.
So last month, you can explain why this is different at the event with Dr. Wael Halak.
Yeah,
there's only only 2 or 3 sisters there,
yeah,
mostly brothers.
Because it's a difficult subject. It's a difficult subject. Difficult subjects means you've got to have a certain core competence, and if it's about politics, if it's about how society is arranged, it's about leadership, right? Essentially, it's going to be men. It's not going to be women.
And it's more academic. It's more like people who are grad students already.
Absolutely right. But my concern is, look, I'm seeing let's go to an Islamic relief fundraising dinner. The majority are women, right?
Yep.
Majority of the people who give are women. Right?
Yeah.
You might get a few uncles who give. So when you have an imam saying, they're not going to rock the boat, are they? They're not going to talk about. It's the same problem in the church. If you look at Kevin Samuels, he says the same thing.
But can I ask you something about that though? Is it their fault? I mean, look,
it's not their fault.
No. What I'm saying is that the women are putting the work in.
No, they're doing the work in, and it's fantastic. They're supporting the Muslim community.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And the guys who are not giving, and the guys who are not attending, shameful. Right? My question is, why aren't the imams, why aren't the Muslim leadership taking this issue seriously? When shit hits the fan, when it's the own CEO of a charity, brother Mizan, I have a daughter, how old is your daughter? Oh, 38. Okay, what do you want me to do?
Well, it's gotten too late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He wants me to come and
So
clean
what do you think? I mean, so what? Okay, so we got the problem now, or the condition.
Right.
What do you think is the solution for that now?
Well, look. So I want to talk about the different types of events. Okay. And I'm going to come to the solution.
Sure.
So what we found in the converts event, everybody likes the Gora, and it doesn't really help with the Salafi sheikhs or Saudi sheikhs or Madkhali, whatever they are, right, from the Middle East.
Wait, they like white people?
They love their white people, especially if you've got green eyes. Green Eye Sister, and then it'll be projected
vixen?
all over the time in Al Jazeera and Qatari TV.
The token wife.
The token wife.
I married a white one.
No, that's fine.
No, it's okay. You can go ahead and talk crap about me.
No, but what I'm saying is, and then what happens when I have the convent?
The white women are the best women, as our good friend in Dubai
when we have
says.
the white event, the majority of people who come to the converts events are born Muslims, and they say, "Where are the converts?" That's because you're bloody here.
They always say like, yeah.
You chased them away, you big goofball.
And when they come, this is the beautiful thing, both guys and girls. So the expectations, so you have all these.
So there's a bunch of like non-converts showing up.
So you have Desi girls and Arab girls coming in, and they like. Their mouths drop when they see all these Desi guys and Arab guys, right? And then there'll be a few black guys or a few white guys.
So it ends up being like
this is the
more
most important.
Muslim matrimonial.
And this is the most important. Murtaza. This is the most important. And then we'll have some convert ladies who come as well, and they're both born Muslims. They'll get into depression, right? They'll say, "How is she a convert? Listen, she's a Hindu convert. Just because it's your same skin, why are you judging her?" Or, "Oh my God, is she really a convert? That's right, she's old enough to be your grandmother. She's got 6 kids. She's from the white trash community, excuse my language, but that's where she's from. What do you expect? You want to marry her, brother? You want convert? You came all the way from Saudi Arabia to London because you were shopping in Harrods, but at the same time you want to pick up a convert wife. Guess what?
So what you're saying is the reality that they have this envision what the white convert marriage is gonna look like, but the reality is different than what
some Saudi guy was willing to pay me £10,000 in cash because he wanted.
Hey, I'll find him a white woman for 10 grand.
And I said, listen, come to my events, and he got so disheartened. He said, brother, I thought Islam was the fastest growing religion in the West. What the planet are they living on? And then the sisters, no, but this is the sad reality. This is the racism in the Muslim community.
Sure.
It's disgusting. So I used to think these Desi guys were racist. When we had black brothers who just converted, Aki brothers, right? They just converted.
What up, Ak? What's your manhaj?
Yeah. First thing, they've converted literally the day before. They come to a Muslim marriage event. I say, bro, listen, you're not going to find a Maghribi girl who's going to cook you tagines, right? You're not going to find a Desi girl who's going to cook you biryani every day, right? Yeah. She doesn't look like Ashwarya Rai with a hijab. Just wake up and smell the coffee, right? So he comes and goes, oh, what's the offer? And then he sees a really big, fat, black Muslim woman. Okay, excuse my language, but that's the description reality check. 3 or 4 kids. I thought they were going to be beautiful black girls. They said, brother, are you just converted to Islam literally the day before? The first thing that comes into your mind is marriage, and you're insulting the ladies who come to my marriage events with your attitude, and this is what we're dealing with. So this, and to some extent, it is the fault of dawah organizations projecting these white women as some sort of champions of conversions, which is wrong. Which is absolutely wrong. It's I'm not going to say it's haram, but we're actually causing more problems. We're actually, what we're saying is, we're projecting that colonial sort of mindset again.
But isn't that like a problem with
everybody?
Not everyone, because you look at any Instagrammer who is a female hijabi, who's white.
Same, yeah.
Their channels are like automatically within a few months.
Absolutely.
There's nothing really interesting about them. There's nothing amazing that they're saying.
Yeah, duck face. They all look the same.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Desi girl, Somali face, they're all got the same glitter, and they all look the same.
But there's this gravitation from everyone, or fetishization of the white woman who is Muslim, and she's the prototypical what we're envisioning the West to look like. You know.
No, but look, the reality is the converts event just sums up the whole issue. All right, the racism in the Muslim community, and don't ever think that converts as well are
They're not
racist.
racist. Yeah, yeah.
They come along and thinking. So there's a misnomer out there. Most white converts, middle class white converts. The reality is most people are not middle class converts. They're from where the Muslim community is. Trash. Excuse my language, especially in the UK. Absolutely gutter trash. Milkmans and your builders. So they'll come along saying, all right, bro, Aki, bro. Nothing wrong with it, but it's the attitude. So you have a very, very, very powerful Muslim lady, accountant, doctor. But the sad reality is she will not marry him. She'll wait till she's 40, 45. She still won't marry him.
So what I'm gathering from all this is that the
That's the converts.
expectations that people have, whether converts, non-converts, born, the expectations are unreal.
It's not only expectations. I think people are in denial. In denial of reality.
Okay, so this is what I was going to get to. So this is my point. Like, see, and I'm going to speak from this from like how you know, men are easy to kind of please, right? Like,
Very easy, yeah.
Very easy.
They're
We're
not asking for much.
Yeah, we're not asking for much.
No.
Cook my food, have my babies, give
Yeah.
me sex.
Exactly.
Right? That
Spot on.
sums it up.
No, but that sums it up. It's real talk.
Right. But like, I feel like a lot of these sisters have like this.
There's like
I
a
think-
laundry list. It's like a job application.
No, we're gonna call it golden vagina syndrome,
Okay.
where they feel like they are a 10 or at best they're like a 6.
Yeah.
If they dress up, make it be a 7.
It's a sad reality,
Right,
bro.
and that's just the and like when you ask them, what do you offer people?
What are you
they
bringing
say,
on the table?
Well, I have a degree.
Yeah. A
And-
PhD.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a PhD. Okay, and I have my own car. Okay, and like, I mean, what incentive is that for me?
Yeah.
Like to get
I
married
mean,
to.
there could be like financial, like some, like, you know, people know that.
But Murtaza, remember,
So,
remember, marriage is no longer about survival, right?
About
Our
convenience?
parents, it's about convenience. It's about life. It's a lifestyle choice.
That's sad.
You know, but when it's a lifestyle choice, because apps, whether it's Muzmatch to your Match.com, you can do a mail order bride husband anywhere in the world, anywhere in the world. Remember that. You can put the location indicator. I'm in Chicago. I'm in town. I'm gonna meet up
Looking
a
for a
Muslim.
good time.
Looking
No.
for a good
But-
time.
but
But,
you know,
that's the reality. And I tell you, look, when we used to do our events around the world,
Yeah.
whether it's in Paris, whether it's in Holland, whether it's in the US, I noticed something. People used to travel.
Just to come there to feed foreign women.
They used to come to my event. I think, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm in America. Look, I've got some work and I'm doing some shopping. And then you thought you come to my marriage event at the same time.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
So it's
right?
people you know from the UK, you'd see them in like following your event elsewhere.
Bro, you know, fetish. People go to France because they want a beautiful Maghrebi girl. They don't want to go to Morocco, right? They'll go to Germany
Yeah.
because they want, you know,
The German convert.
the German
Bro,
convert.
it's worse than that. They're going to Syrian refugee camps in Turkey.
Of course they are. Some of them are disgusting, without a doubt.
I don't know
taking
how
advantage
any of those
women,
those-
but at the same time, some of them are actually sincere. They're
Yeah.
helping. We should be very careful in the sense of, because we always hear about the
Yeah,
bad, and there
yeah.
are some really good brothers.
Absolutely.
And we should say, look, let's also celebrate the good. The
The
good
good
nature,
brothers,
the
yeah.
good
brothers who
intention,
are
right,
absolutely
yeah.
right. You know, because again, our judgment base is not by you know, this whole obsession with power dynamics. Because, like, for example, when you see in my matrimony events, in fact, I had to go to the police station, right, and show myself, because we had so many cases of sisters stalking brothers.
Stalking.
Absolutely, after the event.
Really?
Yeah. The
Wait,
desperation.
are these like professional women?
Professional women
Ooh.
who are doctors, who were teachers, who were accountants, management consultants, psychos. Some of them have got some real mental issues.
There's
Mental illness is common among women.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. They would go.
It's
they would
common
call,
among everyone,
No,
too.
they would call up the brothers.
No,
and say,
look, I
"You-
don't want this thing to turn into something men versus women type of
Discussion.
stupidity, because that's never productive, and we never achieve anything. We never have any growth
So
beyond
But
that.
we have some issues.
No,
in
but
the
I
but
can
community.
take
there's
digs.
so many
No,
dumb-
I take digs. I feel like that they get to take digs, and when we don't.
We know about the problems of the
Yeah.
brothers. We have some issues.
I
we
have
have
no
a
problem.
lot of
Look,
problems with the brothers.
As you mentioned, I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
Men are lazy. They don't make enough money.
Yeah.
They don't want to keep themselves fit. and they're not man enough to tell the woman what they want.
Well, they're scared. And I think, you know what the sad reality is? I don't think our generation and the future generation, we're empowering our men to have
No,
men
but
skills.
it's much more than that. It's a lack of respect for women.
Yeah.
There's a huge issue with many men who don't want that responsibility. They want those who aren't married. They just want to fool around. Some of them, they don't even want to fool around.
Yeah.
They just like the chase, the chit chat back and forth.
Absolute right, yeah.
And
The game.
the game. You know
Yeah.
that they're in love with the game. The others,
But it's choice, you see. This is the problem. What apps has done, what matrimony
Yeah,
events.
who's enabled that?
And I've enabled it. And I always say, I've opened up Pandora's
Yeah.
box. Because initially, when I started off these events, I thought it will only be a temporary measure. We'll get our generation married. We'll be focused on building the Muslim community.
Little did you know, little
little
shaitan.
no, wallahi, seriously, I had no idea I would open up Pandora's box. This is the difference between a physical app. An app or a website where you can do as much as swiping as possible, but you don't meet the person. Imagine doing events where you have hundreds of people coming, a room, a massive hall, 300-400 people, 500 people. You got your every single fetish you can think about in your life there. Mouths watering. Some of the guys' behavior is disgusting.
Let's hear it.
Okay, did you want to hear some of the
Yeah,
guys?
yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you some of the guys, right? So some of the guys, you'll have the absolutely, what do I do? My name is Muslim. I don't know. How old are you, brother? I don't know. What do you do? Management consultant. Okay, really? Management consultant. You don't know your name and you don't know your age. Okay, right. Well done. Okay. Then we have some guys who just look, brother. This is not a disco. They'll just walk up, go up to the lady and saying, "Hi, can I have your number?" No, you don't. Sit down. Go back and sit down, you dirtbag. Don't go up to the lady and But then we'll also have ladies who'll be the other extreme, who'll do exactly the same thing.
Like put themselves out there.
No, they'll just blah 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 blah. Just wait till the man introduces herself, man.
well, there's also the girl who expresses interest and then just or is chit chatty, but then wants to play hard to get. Like they're
Absolutely. So on
they just like the attention. They're like, oh, I could have gotten that guy.
No.
but I'm gonna hit the
No,
dump
but you're
button.
right, because
you know?
on our app, we have an event app. Okay, on our app, you have to choose who you want to meet, brother number X or sister number X. So once they've chosen, they'll get a message. The person that they've chosen get a message saying, please respond. You've got 15 minutes countdown to reply, positive, negativity. And if you want to both meet, you'll get a text message, go to the meeting.
Yeah.
And you do this in the actual hall.
In the actual hall.
Yeah.
So we've got it very sussed out. Now, this is the interesting dynamics when people, whilst on the app, guess what people are doing? They're shopping, going to websites.
Oh, nice.
Right? Some of them I've seen on porn sites.
What? Wait, you mean at the event?
At the event, the brother will say, "Oh, it's not working," and I take his phone. I say, "Bro, do you know what website you're on?"
Wait,
Oh my God.
Which website was he on?
The guy- you open up the browser and the next you knew it, there are some very awkward pictures. I say, "Bro, you're not on Muslim marriage events. You need to go to my website."
I'm trying to get into it, all right? Like, no, but the thing
And
is,
some of the sisters, guess they're on. You come to my event and you're on Single Muslims or Muzmatch. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You're at the same time. They're on Tinder at the same time.
Look,
what,
In
I,
an
what,
event.
what I think it is I think people
It's
will.
choice.
What he's describing is that women hold back. I don't think it's holding back. I think what women like choices. They want to say what can they get better.
Yeah.
They're thinking that
It's
I'm not
hypergamy,
to him.
isn't it?
Hypergamy, right?
Yeah.
Who's okay? He's nice, but I think there's someone better out there. So I'm gonna try to get. They always look to
It's
move
the
up.
nuffs. It's
right.
the nuffs.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think in nature the women are hypergamy. Meaning if someone is who looks the same, let's say she likes the way you look, right? Or maybe she likes your career. She's gonna think, you know what? There's someone who may have your career, but he may look better than you.
Absolutely
He may be
right.
taller than you.
Maybe
so
taller
that's
than
the one for me. And guess what? My vagina's gold, so he's gonna pick me.
The bottom line is, look, we've opened up Pandora's box as a result of all these issues. The Muslim community has not dealt with reality of gender, sexuality, and relationship. If you look at the works of Ibn Qayyum or Ghazali or some of these great classical scholars, you'll find some amazing sex manuals.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff on gender, sexuality, the fluidity, and so on. So
Not
we don't
gender
do-
fluidity, right?
Well, even gender fluidity, because you'll find even classical scholars talking about.
Like non-binary.
It's a bit weird because they talk about their love for boys, and then the next minute they talk for. I mean, you have to ignore that part, but they weren't that obsessed in that sense. But I think what we need to do,
I guess what you're saying is that they understood that there are people with this inclination.
of course,
And then-
and
but
they
it-
had their own fetishes as well,
Right,
Let's
but it's not
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but I guess it was like, all right, just keep it moving.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think part of the problem is we know about our Victorian conservativeness. Unfortunately, we become very Protestant in our way of dealing with sexuality and relationships and marriage, and that's part of the problem. But also, we're doing a lot of disservice to our women. Look, we have a huge number of women in the 30s and 40s. We have to sort this out. We have to find solutions. So moving on, like I was going to mention, I used to do the over 30s event. So in the beginning, we used to have very difficulties getting men for the over 30s. And guess what happened? The Conservative government didn't allow people to bring spouses from abroad for a certain period. So that helped us get guys in the 30s to choose women. That helped us because it used to cost a lot more money to bring the women over. But there's another thing that's also problematic. What we found was women in their 30s are pushing the boundaries more and more and more. So,
What do you mean?
in the sense, I've stopped doing the over 40s event because I just don't have guys. I do have guys, but the guys in their 50s and 60s want something in their 30s. They make it quite clear.
Yeah,
They make it quite
25,
clear.
30.
So what happens? A lot of the women in the 30s. So you see, between 30 and 35, they're playing around. They're not really serious. Once they reach 35 to 40, they get really desperate.
So I think that's the womb syndrome, where like 30, 35, they
And you see it.
They
You
still
see it.
think they got options. I still got it. I'm still sexy. And then 40 years old, or 38 at the wall, I can't have kids after 40.
No, but it's interesting because what will happen? They'll choose the guys. You see it on the app which guys they're choosing because we collect the statistics after each event.
Are they choosing
Yeah.
younger guys?
And at 38, 39, they're going for a guy at 31. I said, sister, I remember you from 7 years ago. You never choose a guy, right, who's a few years younger than you. Why are you so interested in choosing a guy who's at least 7, 8 years younger than you?
Yeah.
What's the change? There's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with it,
Nothing
no.
wrong with it. Why now? Don't. Oh, I want a child. I want a child. I want a child. I want a child.
But why wouldn't an older man be able to provide that child?
He would be able to, but most guys in their 40s and 50s, what we found, they know they can get a 13-year-old woman. The other thing which a lot of our guys are accepted, also, what we also found, a lot of guys who are 50s and 60s, anyone who is 35 plus, they find them a headache.
They find them what?
A headache.
Oh.
They're stuck in their ways. They don't want to deal with it.
Anyone
They're
who's
very
35
stubborn.
over plus, period.
Yeah.
Male or female.
Yeah.
But you know what though?
Stubborn.
Let's talk very logically, right? Okay, if I'm a 50-year-old successful man with
Yeah.
properties and money in my name, I work my whole life, right? Why would I want to deal with an older person? I mean, if I can get someone who's much younger, much beautiful, beautiful, men are attracted to beauty.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Why wouldn't I just invest and take to that? I mean,
Absolutely.
And this is the funny part. I feel bad for women because even the example you gave, a 31-year-old man
Yep.
is probably thinking about having kids.
Yep.
And he's
And he's
seeing a
not gonna get
38,
men, yeah.
39-year-old woman,
Yeah.
the max he's thinking about squeezing out is one child. He's probably thinking, like, I can maybe squeeze out one,
Yeah.
but he's
and they'll
thinking,
quote Mufti Menk. Mufti
Yeah.
Menk will say X, Y, Z, and I love Menk. Menk is a lovely
I
guy,
love him too,
and
yeah.
I
But
support
he's a
him.
feel-good shit.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
he's a feel-good, motivational speaker,
Yeah.
and we support him and continue the work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel, look, Menk, you also need to give people some reality check. The Prophet ﷺ gave reality check, reality advice. Yes, there's aspirational hadiths, but also there were hadiths which were very blunt, very to the
marry them
point.
young, marry virgins.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And we should say that.
Yeah.
Why is it offensive? Why do you get triggered? What the other thing we also found was triggering. People got triggered a lot. So in the group discussion,
In the actual session.
in the actual session, yeah.
How dare you like a woman
Yeah.
that's skinnier than me? Like, well, how dare you? But wait, do men get
Actually,
triggered?
I want to hear some examples of this triggering.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
give me
and
some
by the way, do
examples.
men
Yeah.
get triggered too? Is it just women or men get
No,
triggered too?
men don't get.
Give me-
I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll have married guys who turn up, Okay,
For
random.
polygamous?
For polygamy, yeah.
Okay.
I don't have a problem. It's up to you. What you do between you and your wife and the other person.
So you
is
don't
up to
ban
you.
it outright?
No, I
Okay.
can't. Because at the end of the day, it's an event for all Muslims.
Are you a
At the-
polygamist?
I do support. I promote polygamy if it's above board and clean.
No.
What about
do
Mistyar?
you practice it yourself?
No, I don't practice it.
What about Misyar?
Misyar,
Is that
again,
allowed?
I support it.
Okay.
In fact, I would say it's probably going to be more required more than ever now because there's a huge number of now professional women who prefer to divorced or not divorced or in the 40s who prefer a husband
Just part-time husband.
Like
Yeah.
I said in the Daily Mail article, I said
Yeah.
the rise of part-time wives.
But do
is a
people-
reality check.
Do people come there though?
They do. They over
asking for
30s,
Misyar,
they
like very
come-
clear about it.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Misyar?
They come for the over. We have we have an event called the Divorce and Widowed one. Okay, specifically for that. And now it has an open caveat saying all permissible options. Okay, you catch my drift. Okay, so all permissible options means is a caveat for possibilities. It's up to you how you how you understand and how you go about things. Now,
The fluidity.
the fluidity, absolutely right. We live in gender fluidity, right? Okay, so I'm practicing what the modern
The liberal terms.
the liberal terms, right?
Yeah.
So we have a lot of women who've now accepted the idea of being part-time wives. No one's forcing them, no one's coercing them. They're saying it actually meets my lifestyle. Right? I'm successful, I'm divorced,
Right.
or I'm my 40s.
I don't have time for this.
I haven't got time for this. I just need a man to be halal with and companionship. That's it.
Yeah.
Whether it's misyar or whether it's polygamy or whether it's whatever. However, we also find a struggle getting brothers being responsible for that.
Absolutely.
What we tend to find are rubbish quality men. You know, brother, listen, there's no point of saying I'm from the Salaf Saleh, from a particular, a particular sort of school of thought. Look, the damage these guys have done, especially from the Madkhali school people. I don't bite my tongue, and I'm not gonna be PC about it. You buggers out there, you've caused so much problem with your, marrying and divorcing and sharing these women. You've destroyed a society, destroyed a community, and we should call them out.
Absolutely.
We should call him out.
One of these guys, I know he's
Call him out. Put a wall of shame.
unemployed. Okay, he married a sister, unemployed. She's supporting him, and then he's threatening to marry a second wife. While she's supporting him, he has no job,
Disgraceful.
nothing,
Absolutely disgraceful.
and this is the reality of what
This
they're
is it,
bringing.
and we should call them out.
Are
doesn't this
you
go back
speaking
to-
against my Sheikh Abu Khadija?
Listen, Abu
This is
Khadija,
unacceptable.
Abu Khadija, at the end of the day, look, at the end of the day, he's got his opinions, but the community of Abu Khadija has caused a lot of problems in my community in the UK. And I don't care if Abu Khadija calls me up now and he's...
He has your number?
No, if he calls me or if his supporters
Look how
call
excited he
me,
got.
I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
You have to deal with who I am because I have evidence, and the damage you've done, I'm going to put you to
ringer.
accountability because I'm a leader in my Muslim community, and as a leader, I'm going to account people who are causing damage.
Absolutely.
I don't care what people say.
But to what he was just mentioning right now is that this is the thing I fail to. I mean, it's a very simple concept. Allah has made men the qawam, right?
Absolutely right.
But in order to be that, you have to be the financial supporter.
Right.
If you're not taking care of your wife, aside from
And
I'm saying-
financial support I mean doing the minimum requirement.
and to be honest, if you can do more, you should. I mean, this is your spouse, but I'm saying if you can't even do the minimum,
Right.
don't expect her to treat you like a man.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah. And
I really firmly believe that if you don't meet that minimum requirement, a woman has a right to step all over you.
absolutely right. Absolutely
It's just
right.
you deserve no respect.
We deserve no respect, and more important, the other thing we should encourage now. We should also talk about as well, this obsession with, marriage and this obsession with emotionalism. Men are not that emotional. Get on with it. Get over it. You will never make a man completely thinking. And also, a man can marry a man can actually be happy with more than one person. And emotionally, he can be. He can control himself.
I think men are
Yeah.
designed to love more than one
This
woman.
notion, I don't know where it's coming from, whether it's a psychologist or psychotherapist
Right.
or whatever they are, they need to be challenged.
Right.
They need to be challenged and saying, really, where's your evidence?
I feel like we're more likely to cry over a football match
Yeah.
than a woman
Than a
or
woman.
anything
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
like Liverpool. I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I saw when Liverpool won the Premier League a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Grown men crying like they waited for like decades.
Yeah, and if they said something to their wives, they wouldn't be crying.
Right.
And their wives will be crying
But-
so much. But that's the reality of men and women, right?
Right.
You're right, and what I want to mention on that as well too is that this idea that somehow that we're not showing our emotions because we're traumatized.
Yeah.
This trauma bonding nonsense thing you always hear about.
Well, have you noticed the huge number of ladies, especially Muslim women now, who are divorced women consultants?
Oh,
Right? On
we talked about
YouTube.
that yesterday.
Right. Divorced women
Yeah.
consultants. And then they'll come to my marriage event, right? This is
Trying
the
to be
funny
the
thing.
expert.
And they're experts and saying, hang on. You just got divorced, love, right? Now you come. In fact,
There's so many of those.
is
You're
the
so
funny-
right about this.
Oh, wallahi, seriously. The funny thing, we had 3 Bengali girls who came. Okay, literally, they got divorced 1 month of each other, and they came to my marriage event within a month and say, "Have you done your idda? Period is completed." Because if you got married, if you got divorced literally a month before, things don't work out. So they turned up. Okay, and I got very uncomfortable. I said, "Look, I don't want you in my event. Well, I paid for it. You know, you can't stop us from looking for a
your
husband."
refund back.
I know, as I said, I'll take
Yeah.
here's the money back, guaranteed, right? And
Yeah.
but the sad reality is, these were women who are counselors. These people who are consultants, you know, YouTube divorce consultants. And in fact, when I checked some of them out, some of them were talking about their ex-husbands.
In the most
right?
vile way.
The most vile way. And not only that, when I did meet their ex-husband, it was a different story,
Yeah.
right?
There's
And
always two
the-
sides.
It's two sides. And more importantly, in America and both sides of the pond, there's this obsession on naming and shaming men without any evidence. And then there was a case, and I'm not going to mention the website, which is trying to tackle spiritual abuse of imams,
Yeah,
okay?
we're familiar.
Where both there were some judgments by the court, by the judge, to take off certain statements on that website.
Yeah.
Right? When
Slander.
they were found, when the imams were found to be not guilty.
Yeah.
What does that say? It's not. We're all into the business of accounting people, whether it's male or female. Let's have it both sides, not just one side.
But you don't understand the power dynamic.
No, but you're right though. It is. This is the bottom line, right?
No,
Mahin, this is the bottom line.
Mahin is saying that it's a power dynamic thing, because even though the sister engaged in whatever activity that allowed that relationship to take place, he was in a position of power and he should have known his
He spiritually
responsi-
abused her.
his
Well,
spir-
this is
That's
again.
what
This
it's
is there's a course coming up. Look, I do think there is spiritual abuse. I'm not doubting that. Both ways, in the sense of, you know. Otherwise, but at the same time, let's not forget about the story of Zulekha. Okay,
Yeah.
let's not story. Otherwise, it won't be in the Quran for a reason.
Right.
Okay, at the same. So we've got to strike a balance, right? But right now you have these Muslim women coming in these events, right? And they're advising other guys in these events what to look for.
And they're divorced.
And they're divorced.
And this is
And-
this is another thing just to highlight is that there are women who are these alleged counselors who are divorced as well, and they, instead of being marriage counselors, they're actually enticing divorce.
Yeah.
They're telling them, you deserve better, without actually saying
You
divorce.
go, girl.
You go, girl.
Yeah.
You are a queen.
Yeah.
You're a boss lady. Look at you. If I was a man, I would marry you. All the stuff that
No,
you
but it's true though.
feel-
But you'd be surprised. There's so many ladies who agree with what you say. They don't like it. They don't like it.
Well, what
they
are
don't
they?
feel comfortable. They don't feel
I
comfortable.
hope they speak up
No,
though.
But
But-
they're not going to speak up.
Because they're just gonna get blasted.
They're going to get blasted because of cancer culture.
Yeah.
And there is Muslim cancer culture. There is
Well,
Muslim
yeah.
cancer
Be-
culture.
you know,
Before you go on though, you did not give any examples of the triggering.
Oh, the triggering. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, how are people getting triggered in your
for
actual
example,
events?
So some guys will come, and I will say, look. So, for example, sometimes we will say in the group discussions, so tell us a bit about yourself, your family, your hobbies, a bit of your family, and so on. And then a theme would be, what is your, what are your no-goes? Okay. Would you marry someone? Would you live with your in-laws or not? Okay. Another one would be, would you take on someone with children or not? Look, single brother, you're not even married. Don't stop, fetishing over a divorced woman with a child, right? Okay. Be blunt. Be very clear. And I say it directly to them. Would you consider a woman with a child who's got a baby or a teenager? And so some guys will say, no, I don't want no children. I don't want and he goes, he goes, I'm married or I'm divorced. I've already had 6 kids. I just want a single woman. I just want to enjoy myself. Okay, the guy will say that in the group, no problem. Immediately, some of the women disgusting. Exactly, disgusting. Brother Mizan were disgusted that you can bring such men filth into the event. You know, you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm just saying. Look, listen. He's paid for the service. He's just who he is at the end of the day, right? I can't control him. And listen, this is the best one. Some of them were ex-Guantanamo guys. Ex-Guantanamo Bay.
Oh,
I'm not going to mention who they were.
Wow.
Right? Some of them will say, listen, Mizan, I would rather be in Guantanamo Bay than my ex-wife or these kind of women.
Wow.
Bro, so, wow. So,
I mean, listen, I can't look. There's about 700 people in the room, 300 people in the room, 200 people in the room, right? I can't control them. The guy will come up to me and say, you know what, I had a terrible ex. You know, I know who you are because your face looks familiar. And I know who you are because you are who you are. Yeah. And he goes, listen, I'd rather be there than my ex-wife or these type of women.
the notion, I went through a divorce recently, and so I had a little bit of experience in this process, and what you're talking about, a lot of it relates to, or I can identify with a lot of what you're talking about. But this idea that, it's a male problem or a issue with men who don't want to marry women with children, it's completely wrong. It's the same problem with women too, who don't want to be stepmoms. Yeah. They don't want to deal with children. Yeah. They're like, wait.
But we have to also be realistic here.
Yeah.
Look, a man is not responsible if it's not his kids. Okay,
sure.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't do much about that. It's not his kids. But at the same time, a lot of these sisters have to wake up and smell the coffee and saying, look, if you're expecting this man to bring up your children, you got yourself something coming here. You got to wake up and smell the coffee. It's not going to happen, right? And you shouldn't put that expectation on him either. That he should be changing the nappies of your child. He should be doing the madrasa run. He should be doing everything for thingy. Because reality is, look, we as a Muslim community are emotionally immature. We have not moved to the next generation, the next progressed. The black community haven't. Right? The white community in general are struggling with relationships. Otherwise, we would not be having the Red Pill movement, Rollo Tomasi types and Andrew Tate types. You know, Muslims love Andrew Tate, right? At the moment. Yeah. They love that if there's any religion that can deal with feminism, it's Islam. Have you seen that one? Yeah. And he gets replayed and replayed and replayed. And guess what? Andrew Tate grew up in Luton, right? Yeah. Next to...
I got to pause you. I got to disagree with you on that. I think when you take that marriage, when you take that woman who has children, you as a man
should man up.
You are taking a high level of responsibility to, especially in the event where that child's father is gone and is removed out of the picture. You take initiative in being that male, that fatherly role model. We hope. But reality, that's what I do with my wife and her.
You're an example. An exemplary example of a good, conscious, high-level Muslim man. Right? We're talking about the average Joe.
No, but we want the average Joe to elevate himself.
The average Joe is never. Look,
right.
The Sharia does not deal. The Sharia deals with the bare minimum basics.
Right. Yeah. And it's not his.
Okay. Ihsan is what you're doing. You're doing ihsan. Right? At the end, excellence.
Well, don't give him too much credit.
Mashallah.
I'm kind of a jerk. Talk to my wife.
No, but mashallah. But the reality is, it's not the reason why the ballpark figure is, it's not the responsibility. The question is, the sister also has to start looking at why is it that the father of the child is not around? Okay, number one. Number two, what are the responsibilities? Because at the end of the day, the surname, right? The surname of the child is not the stepfather.
Right.
It'll always be.
And we can't adapt it.
We can't adapt. And that's the bottom line. And there is that reason for a reason.
And this trickles down to other things like inheritance rights, many different things.
Yeah. Once you do that, then everything else is open.
There's going to be problems.
There's going to be problems.
But I think going back to the point is that you need to figure out why these. Islamically, we have it written down. Yeah. And I'm going to make this point and make my other point. Is that Women want the Islamic stuff before they're getting married, and when they get divorced, they want the kafir system.
Well, the reality is that's exactly what's happening.
And so what I'm saying is that if your child is above breastfeeding age and above maturity, in a tender age, he should be or she should be going with the father. That is his, and there's a wisdom in this.
Absolutely right.
It's difficult for a man to undertake another responsibility, especially when he knows in the future that I have to worry about inheritance, I have to worry about other things like this.
And it's not the responsibility of the state.
Exactly. And
the state should stay away from issues of family.
And this is one of the ways that Islam actually protected the women. That it gave the responsibility to the male that if you were to commit to a woman, the repercussions of you just...
Well, look at the black community. I grew up with black folks, right? It was a very strong community back in the early 80s, you know, for our case, it was the African and Caribbean community, right? Later on, the divorce rates rocketed, and I'm sure it's similar in the black community, African American community. You hear it all the time from folks like Kevin Samuels and other very not right wing, but conservative thinkers like Thomas Sowell and others like that. They talk about the black family being very strong, divorce rates, family rates, marriage rates are up to like 70-80%. Interestingly, in my marriage events, right, when we just had the African and Caribbean community event, guess how many brothers turned up? It was a free event.
Few? None? Zero?
Five.
Oh.
How many ladies turned up?
30, 40?
Yeah, about 34. About 40, 45.
For 5 guys.
For 5 guys.
So they got each 4.
They got each 4.
The math is good, baby.
And these were Nigerian ladies, these ladies from the West Indies, these ladies who were, you know, mixed heritage. Not only that, they were Arab women, you know, Sudanese women, Somali women, you know, because the Desi community and the Arab community generally don't look at them. You know, the interracism.
Divorcees, right?
Yeah, divorcees. Yeah,
sure.
Divorcees. The interracism we see in our marriage events is unbelievable. Part of the problem was the fetishization by opening up Pandora's box.
Right.
You got so much choice. Brother MIZAN, I'll go to the Bengali event one day. Okay, now I'm watching. I want to learn Arabic. So I'm going to go to the Arab event.
Yeah, I'm going to learn Arabic at the matrimonial event. You know?
It's unbelievable. You get all these Desi guys and Desi girls who come to the Arab event thinking that they're going to marry an Arab person of Arab heritage and their Quran is going to improve. Listen, these Arab guys and girls can't even speak Arabic, let alone recite Quran properly.
It's unbelievable. You know, one thing on this note that I will say that on that note is that this stigma with divorce needs to also go away.
Look, stigma, you're right and you're wrong. You're right in the sense we should grow up, okay? We shouldn't have a problem with divorce. But divorce as a lifestyle choice is the problem.
So let me say this,
my life, my divorce, my problem. That needs to go.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the reality is, though, is that there are a high number of divorcees now and divorced people, right? So the likelihood if you are divorced, if it happens, I mean, these things happen, right?
Of course.
I think what you're speaking about is the reasons for why these divorces are happening, and I'm gonna mention something about this as well too. But the reality is that you're gonna find there are plenty of good brothers and sisters that are divorced.
Absolutely right.
There's no vice or evil that happened. It's just they didn't work out and they got divorced, right?
And they get bored. This is another thing. 30% of divorces,
whatever it may be,
is boredom.
Boredom. Yeah. They get, you know, it's like, what is it, after 20 years?
Like you know, like they say dalbat.
Dalbat,
yeah.
After basically after
dalbat, you know,
rice and lentils.
Right.
But after basically it's what is it? Conscious uncoupling.
It's just like basically they're just domestic partners.
Unconscious coupling.
You become roommates.
Roommates, domestic partners, right? But I will say this much though, okay, and this is gonna be controversial.
It's like for the 4th time this podcast.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this much: the reason why some of these people are behaving this way is because divorce has become too easy for the women.
It's easy, of course it has.
Right? If you know you have leverage over a man to take his money and his kids in his home.
Yes. The family law in the West is disgusting.
So you could just say, you know what? What good are you? I can shoot my shot. Well, get divorced at 35, maybe scam another man, and then get hitched at 40.
You have no fault divorce, right? In the US.
In the state of Illinois.
Depends on what state you're in.
State of Illinois, it's no fault.
So we're gonna be having no fault divorce all across the country. In the UK, from the 4th, it's gonna be a disaster. Absolute disaster. And family law courts are absolute shambles. Right, family law is all based on probability, the balance of probability, which is basically if the judge doesn't like you, doesn't feel like it, he'll most likely be against you. You know?
So the thing is, the reality here is this, is that that's why I recommend that Muslim men going forward these days get up on prenups.
Well, no, not only that. You know what Muslim men are doing? They're following, a lot more Muslim men. This is another interesting thing. Whilst we're having a lot of people come to our events, this is another thing, really interesting phenomenon. And it's not just in the Muslim men in the West. Huge number of Muslim men we found. Okay, when we did our Turkish event, when we did our, event in Southeast Asia, they love, generally speaking, and I found this in Indonesia as well, huge number of Arab men from the Gulf who go to Indonesia.
For submissive women?
Submissive women.
Yeah.
So generally, Southeast Asian women are very submissive. It's part of their culture. They say it's part of our Ghazali training. We follow the Turuk. We follow all that sort of stuff. Fine, okay, whatever.
They'll
right?
wash your feet when you get home.
No, but the thing is, there's an element of truth. And I used to think, why are these Saudi Kuwaitis going in jumbo? Because in the UK we have two types. We have the Desis going to Morocco. Desi men going to Morocco. EasyJet. Pack. Right, the joke is a certain.
And what's the intrigue with Moroccan women specifically?
Again, it's similar sort of thing. Beauty, because they generally not tend to be fat.
The village girl,
the
beauty,
and the other thing is,
I've also heard Moroccan women are more open for polygamy.
They're open for polygamy, and also the other thing is what we also found with Desi, they actually like Desi men.
Moroccan women like. I'm getting ideas now.
No, I'm telling you now because of it's because of Bollywood. Right, Shah Rukh Khan and all these Khans are massive there.
Yeah,
where Desi men are considered because they've tried other Arab men and black men. They found that Desi men are number one more educated. They tend to be less violent or less
temperamental,
and more important, financially established, religiously more conservative. So if you're going to have a pound for pound value, who's the top of the food chain as Muslim men for Morocco, Maghrebi women? Is Desi men. Interesting. And I actually, I never used to think it. When I went to, when we did these, so what we did, we split the Arab event, this is really interesting, into French speaking and Arab. Because you could see the racism within the Arabs. It was disgusting. So the Egyptian folks, right, would not consider people who are Moroccan and Algerian simply because of education. They weren't in the same education standards.
I guarantee their attitude would change if you show them the blue passport.
The blue passport could change.
The American passport.
The American passport could change. And Egyptian men, and so you had Egyptian folks and Palestinian folks similar, and Syrian folks in similar sort of mind, and Iraqis. Khalijis generally tend to marry anything, right? Anybody. They'll marry anybody.
Yeah.
People from the Gulf would marry anyone.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. They'll marry anyone. It's not a
ever
problem.
I thought they were the most restrictive.
No.
Really?
In fact,
Actually, wait a minute.
Top of the food chain is white.
So the Gulf, the primary wife must be from the same region tribe.
Yeah.
But the other wife, we got relatives that I know he goes to Morocco like every year.
Yeah.
And he had a new wife.
Saudi guy.
Yeah. So we just know he even speaks Darija. That's how much he goes to Morocco.
Wow. So he's probably married an Amazigh girl.
Yeah. The whole nine. He was his son was studying in Chicago, and he was looking for a wife here. He was looking for a Polish wife.
Yeah.
Is that we
in
met
fact,
him?
No. Right. So
I met one of your cousins that was here.
Yeah. That was Majid. His dad. We called him Mecca gangster. Yeah.
In fact, 7 years ago, we had a boom of Mohammed skis being born.
What?
Mohammed skis.
Like Polish.
You're making that up.
No. We had because what it is. Look, before the government cracked down on certain things, they had a very open visa system for students from Pakistan, Bangladesh, India in particular, right? So we had a flood of these fake colleges, English-speaking fake colleges, and they couldn't marry these Desi girls in the UK. I'm British-born. Why should I want to marry some fob, right? Fresh off the boat. Guess who they weren't marrying? Well, they weren't marrying. They were dating, and a baby came. Mohammed skis were born. They were marrying these Polish girls who were because the government allowed all these Polish folks. This is before Brexit. Before Brexit. Basically the fobs.
So be it Polish fobs?
So, but no, you had Desi fobs and Polish
hitting
girls.
So Desi fobs coming in on this.
Because we're doing the nikahs, right? Yeah. We're doing the nikahs, and also we're going
to... I love her. She's a great wife.
Well, it's very clear because it's mutual convenience, right? Mutual convenience. So we're doing the nikahs and thinking, what's going on here? We said, right? And we're also going and doing the adhans for the babies.
And the wait. So the Polish girls, how'd they get in?
So Polish girls...
Before Brexit, they're just open borders?
Yeah, because you see, Polish girls, look... There is, without a doubt, in our community in the UK, okay, and I think growing number amongst the Turks and the thing, generally there's a perception that ladies who are Slavic heritage tend to be more submissive, and there's a lot of truth in that. Russians, Bosnians.
That is true, though.
There is
Like,
a lot of
from
truth in
the
that.
cultural
you've got
background,
South,
right?
exactly, because of
Right.
the Orthodox Church
Exactly.
influence, right?
Yeah.
Polish girls love Desi guys. And then they also like Maghrebi guys as well. They love the Muslim because of the tradition. There's a religious element to it. Polish folks used to drink a lot, Polish men. So there was a boom abusive, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So there's a boom of these fobs and these Moroccan Algerian guys marry these Polish girls. And then that's why we see a lot of mixed kids now.
This is really ironic because one of my friends is from Chicago. His dad was married to his mother for many years. Allah yarhamah, she died.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a Pakistani guy. Apparently, he went to study in Russia while he was in college. That's where he right. So when his mother died, they had 4 boys. Okay, he was looking for a partner. He went on some website, and he met a Russian woman.
Yeah.
And she came here and met a Russian wife. And I'm like, I came in, I'm like, wait, who's that, bro? I didn't know that married. Like,
No,
who's that?
I encourage it now.
No, I don't mind. But I was just shocked because he was talking Russian to her. And they were like getting along.
In Russia, Russia is the largest Muslim country in Europe, right? They say largest community now. Russia,
Really?
By community, yeah.
Interesting.
Community
Okay.
now. Russia
Because it includes Dagestan.
because just Kazan, there's an underpopulation of men. They don't have enough Muslim men. They don't have men in general.
Dude, this is like some useful data here.
I tell you where the
Are you
data.
trying to go to Moscow?
No. Where,
I mean, I'm Warsaw first.
No, I'll tell you where I'm getting the data because I go to a lot of these dating conferences. So when you go to these dating conferences, you pay arm and leg to turn up. But remember, dating sites have the most richest data you can think about. Forget government statistical data, right? What's the most quickest way to collect data about people's lives? It's dating sites, right? At the end of it. So when you go to these dating sites, they show you the trends, they show you the projections, population dynamics. It's fascinating, and I go every year, right, to the thing, and I see the Muslim world's projections, non-Muslim world's projections, and they're trying to figure out how they can deal with it. It's fascinating stuff. All I can say, But on another note, where are we heading with all these Muslim marriages and Muslim matrimonial?
I was going to ask you in general. So, as our practical point of view, so you and Sim have like older teenage kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've got all girls.
Yeah.
But they're young. They're like under 10.
Yeah.
But I got to think about it at some point. How do you advise parents now? Because realistically speaking, right? I could say, oh, my daughter's 18. I'm gonna get her married off.
Yeah. No,
But like, who's gonna? Yeah, but like realistically speaking, which is that gonna be really practical? You know what I'm saying?
You know what's common?
What's gonna happen?
Mother and daughter to both turn up to events now. That's more
Shut
important.
up. No, that can't be real.
No, it's happening. Mother and daughter turning up. 22-year-old, 23-year-old. The mother's 45. She's looking, and that's common now.
Do people get married to both at the same time?
No, you can't. I don't think that's.
Listen,
I was not allowed, yeah.
Listen,
But I'm just saying,
they're both
people have
turning-
fetish, bro. I don't know.
No, they're both turning up. They're both turning up. That's my mother because she's,
But this is my point, though.
it's a sad reality.
No,
I don't know what the solution is.
So I'll
And
tell you-
my sad reality is I want
What are you
imams.
planning for your kids though? Because you have kids.
You know what the best way for my children
Yeah.
is? Look, I'm going to start looking. I have to take responsibility for my children at the end of the day. And we have one of the things which our parents probably didn't do. They left it to us to some extent, and it wasn't their fault. They didn't realize all this crap would happen, right? We have to sort of preempt it now. We have to start creating communities and start looking for our children. Now, we can't be controlling like certain parents, right? So, for example, certain parents will come to the events, but they won't bring their children. I say, Auntie G, you're registered to the event. Right?
Yeah.
So Auntie G would register the event, or Uncle would register the event, right? And they'll register themselves as their daughter or their son.
Wow. But let me say that I don't know if it's necessarily the fact that parents didn't do it, because I know even me growing up, like, if your mother was trying to hook you up with someone, you were automatically like, nah, I'm not doing it, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of a thing where, like, you want, because maybe it's
you
also
wanted
because
to
of,
feel like you wanted to pick your own.
yeah, and it's maybe this kind of thing also where maybe it's been romanticized about how you fall in love,
The
and how you
game.
find the game, the chase. So I'm saying I want to be very clear that I'm not saying it's not a good thing, but I'm saying I think some parents have tried to be involved.
But to be fair, like,
But it's difficult, man, because look,
my parents pretty much got me set up.
yeah, mashallah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I didn't like. I pushed back.
And that's probably sometimes the best way.
But then I think once I met my wife, or it was like I just rode the train from there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But I get your point. I think the reality is that as much as men like to think, or these guys who are talking about, like for example, these 40-year-old virgins, you're not good at speaking to women.
We
right?
have got a massive problem in our community, and I don't look. You saw the recent fiasco on Imam Zaid. Imam Zaid used to come to my events, okay, a couple of years, but no, not a couple of years, 10 years back.
Okay.
And he came and his mouth dropped when he saw 800 people in the room and all these sisters, you know, and he gave some good nasiha as well. And I did criticize.
To be
him.
clear, Imam Zaid's not there as a client. He's there.
No, of course. Imam, no, he came.
But I'm sure he got some
I look. I invite imams, well-known imams, and just general imams to come and give words of nasiha.
I don't know.
No, his wife will kill him for a start, you know. But she's a wonderful lady. Well, just to give, mashallah, and just to give words of nasiha. That's it. As the imam, bless the event, give some words of nasiha.
Right.
However, where I got annoyed. And he sent me a separate email, mashallah, and I still got the email. Oh, you now, this is 10 years back, over 10, 12 years back. I see that you categorize your events. That's right, Imam Zaid. What do you think I'm going to be doing? I'm not going to be waiting for you guys to find solutions. I have to categorize it because at the end of the day, all Muslims don't work. Yeah. I look, here's my point. Whether it's Imam Zaid or Imam Fulani, whoever it is, everybody has to start taking accountability of their responsibility. Because look, what made our community strong, the Muslim community, is the family, right? Once the family unit goes, think about it. Your institutions like the mosque will decapitate, charities will fall because the givings are going to be less or they're split. You know, your institutions, religious institutions are going to struggle. Everything's going to collapse.
Right. You're too busy paying child support.
Yeah.
And alimony.
No, absolutely right. And it's a sad reality.
But the biggest thing people don't realize is when you have to pay alimony and child support, it cripples you so much that you can't even get remarried if you want to.
No, you can't. Yeah,
it's too expensive. You can't do that.
So why get married? And this is the other problem. Why is it that Saudi Arabia is the biggest importer of, guess what? Sex dolls.
What?
Sex dolls.
Yeah.
The biggest importer of sex dolls is Saudi Arabia, right? Second thing is, interestingly, one of the biggest consumer of porn is Pakistan.
Is that really true? I looked it up and I'm going
to show you Egypt and Pakistan.
Yeah, because I looked it up and I'm like, because I saw it and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't really know if it, because I tried to find it. Apparently, like, there was on some website, but apparently
statistic.com.
So I went to like the actual, so you know, these porn sites release their data, right? Yeah. So I went to one of them. I saw like the data. It came in the Google search. And it was like, but there was not a single Muslim country.
No, there are a lot of Muslim countries.
Really? Well, I'll take a look at that. Yeah, send me a link.
I'm going to send you the link.
Yeah, because I saw like, I think the one that I saw was like a Pornhub one, where it released their data for 2017 and 2018, and it was like number one consuming country was America and the UK.
The bottom line is, look, all the Islamic movements are talking about power, establishing Muslim Dawla, blah, 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 golden age, all this nonsense, right? You're not going to get anything until you have a stable family unit.
Yeah.
Right?
It has to start
Do you catch my drift?
Right.
What planet are you living in?
Yeah, the building block is...
Where do we get Gaddafi? Gaddafi came from a what? A broken family. Saddam as well. Broken family. If you see consistency with all these psychotic Muslim leadership around the Muslim world, right? Even, you know, dare I say, Sheikh Hasina for, you know, broken family, right? You know, you're seeing her dad butchered and God knows what. And,
right.
You know, do you understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Every single Muslim leadership comes from some sort of messed up family unit, and unfortunately they transpose that onto our communities, and that's why we never seem to progress, move forward. I'm not saying the Western world is anything better, right? But the point of the matter is the Muslim leadership, right, is not taking this seriously enough.
Sure. Real quick before we finish up here, what kind of data have you seen, by the way, on like infidelity? It's like zina.
You see, look.
Do you have that kind of data?
No, I don't have, because it's, again, the word infidelity is very, very subjective.
Broad.
You see, very broad.
Yeah.
See, technically speaking, in law, infidelity is when a man has, you know, or when the opposite gender have physical sex, right? In Western illegal tradition is that when they own up to it. In Muslim tradition, it's you got to have 4 witnesses seeing it. It's now so women say infidelity, he's done infidelity by going to a porn site or going to a dating site. Really? Is that really infidelity? Yeah. So, you know,
his eyes were wandering.
His eyes were wandering. So it really depends what infidelity is.
So it's very clear-cut design in the non-Muslims, in the general public sphere. Yeah. Right? Is it accurate, though, that in the U.S., divorce rate is like 55% and infidelity is like 70%?
60% in the U.S., isn't it? 60, 70%.
divorce is 55
It's
or 60,
over 50%.
and then like infidelity is like 70.
Again, I don't know where they're getting the stats from. It's very difficult.
You know what's really interesting? Before we wrap this one up, it just came to my mind. There are Muslim women who would rather their husband do zina haram than take another wife.
Absolutely right.
Because it's less shameful for them to have to publicly.
They would just prefer that she does not know about it. Just
I just
cover it
don't know
up.
about it, but they may even know about it. They're just turning a blind eye.
And this is the sad. They become, again, this, as I said, Jermaine Greer said, if you become the woman you want to marry and the man you want to marry, what is it you're bringing on the table? And we've, look, you know, Sim and Murtaza and, you know, Mahin, we've really got to start thinking deeply, honestly. We've got to somehow save our families, save our children, and put back confidence back into marriage, you know, as an institution. Because once that goes, you know, forget about anything else. Do you catch my drift? The Muslim community is finished.
As a father of daughters, I'm terrified who they will marry, whether they will experience divorce.
Okay, shall I be honest with you? This is what I say to you. All of us, our generation, we're the last generation. We are the last generation. And hear me out. And don't, you can hold me to quote, but don't attack me. Moving forward now, our children and our grandchildren, we have to accept that their first marriage will be in divorce. Will end up in divorce. The second marriage, they'll have multiple marriages. Moving forward, most of our children and grandchildren will have multiple marriages. Now, we have to accept that that's going to have emotional trauma, mental trauma, and spiritual trauma on our children and grandchildren, let alone ourselves.
Yeah.
And we have to prepare that. Now,
how do you explain that to your daughter who is picking the wrong person for marriage? How do you explain it as a father?
I don't know. I'm still trying to find out myself. Yeah. I know in the back of my head and back of my mind and heart, most likely my daughter, Allah forbid, she will be divorced. I don't think she's going to be prepared for that. Because you see, on the one hand, you have these stupid, you know, because of Instagram and TikTok, you know, generation who are completely not, there's no reality check. You also have a generation of women, Muslim women, who are unaccountable.
It's a fake life.
Fake life. Yeah. And then you have another generation, you have emasculated Muslim men.
You got the MGTOW. Right? No, then you got the MGTOWs.
Then you got the MGTOW.
Who have no respect for women. Yeah. Just want to abuse them. Yeah. It's
exactly.
a counter extreme, right? Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, what? How do you? I mean, to answer this question, how do you know?
We need to get our leading thinkers and imams. Stop being woke, right? Stop being wokey. Right? What is nonsense? It's not wokeism to talk about this. Because if it happens to your daughter and son, don't come to me last minute and expecting me to clean up your shit. And then they're saying, oh, brother Mizan, you didn't help me. Yeah. I'm not going to blah, blah, blah. This is pathetic. This is something big here. You know, it's something really, really big.
So your message is that it's since the family, the backbone unit.
Well, I'm in America, right? What's the biggest issue in America? The cultural war, right? Part of the cultural war is what? The gender war, the family war, right? The liberals and the conservatives, they don't see eye to eye. Never at all, do they? No. The cultural war is the biggest thing. Essentially, if America does not heal, and it's the same thing in the UK, look at all the top podcasts in the UK and the US, in the Anglo-Saxon sphere, Australia. What are the two main things that come up in these podcasts? Gender differences and, you know, family law, blah, blah, that sort of stuff. They don't care about the politicians. Oh, he's got COVID or not COVID. Yeah. That's for mainstream media, right? Yeah. Why do you think Joe Rogan's getting it? Because at the end of Joe Rogan, at the end of the day, is hitting the reality. It's speaking, you know, it's hitting the nail on the head, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I may be wrong. I don't know. You tell me.
Hey, well, that's what we do. We're here to work it out.
Yeah.
We tried it in this
work
episode.
In progress.
Yeah, we tried this episode. But this is as far as we got.
Yeah, give us some feedback. I want some feedback. If anyone's available, they're free tomorrow. They can come tomorrow to the Matchmaking.
It's in Chicago.
It's in Chicago at the AIC. It's free.
If you're not in Chicago, you can still fly in.
You can still fly in. Yeah, of course you can.
I'll try to. I mean,
we got people flying from America. I mean, from Canada, from Europe.
For real?
Yeah, someone registered from Europe to come to
I
tomorrow's
would,
event.
maybe it's me and Timmy would drop by just to see
Drop
what it's
by.
like,
Yeah.
and maybe interview some of the crazy stuff, like
I
maybe
think you
catch a
should.
crazy rant,
And just check
or
out
someone
the
triggered.
app. Exactly. Get
Did
some
you find your Zoom, by the way? The Zoom H6? That'd be handy for that.
Oh, the Zoom! I never know where it went. I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, Brother Mizan, how do people get a hold of you?
I think the best way to just go to, if it's matrimonial stuff, just go to muslimmarriageevents.com.
Pimp Daddy Mizan.
Muslim
You
marriage?
can actually Google me, and you can see all my.
Well, thing is, I was calling you Mizan by, and I was like, I didn't know your last name till last week.
Just
and I
Google Mizan
Googled you,
Raja, and
Mizan
then-
Raja, yeah.
and you'll
You
see
find
all
some
these
stuff.
documentaries on the Daily Mail to your BBCs to your Reuters.
So what's
and-
the best contact for you?
No, just go to Muslim marriage.
You're not on Twitter or
Yeah.
social media?
No, I don't. The irony of everything, I don't do anything on social media.
Okay.
I'm a very.
That's good,
very
man.
similar.
I'm
I just
encouraging
focus.
as many people as possible to get off that.
Yeah.
It's just a poison.
Yeah. No, Simbai, I think we should all make dua that Allah save our families.
Yeah,
You know,
it's because here's the thing.
It's game over now the way things are going.
Marriage is the cornerstone of society. It's the way that society it builds on top of itself to become a community, and then and bigger into a village and into a country. So these when the cornerstone of society is being broken, where children are being born without fathers who have disappeared, or
We're in America.
Yeah.
Why would you want to see the downfall of America? Doesn't it break your heart that you're non-Muslim American, their families are broken? Muslims should be now healing this divide.
Yeah, I mean, I have no.
Yeah.
I mean, if America falls, I have nowhere to go.
Exactly. This is our country. The West is our country. I'm not going to go back to the Muslim
I'm
world.
going to the Mamluka. Arabia Saudi.
Mamluk son,
Man,
right?
you're on this show. You're not going, bro. He screwed that up for you.
You know?
Uh,
We have a
it's done.
great opportunity as Muslims to contribute and showcase Islam, and that's through the family, and that's through basic things. It's not hard. You don't have to do lots of theology and philosophy and all sorts of things.
yeah. Well, Brother Mizan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Best of luck. If you have anything that you want to promote, you're always welcome to be back on
Mamluks
the
is a
show.
fantastic channel. I mean, I watch
you.
it from the other side of the farm. I'm always talking about this. I find the
Well,
positions.
So tell me a story how you found, like, so I'm at this thing.
We at the Halak event, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw you, and I recognized you, and I just went up to you and just said, "I love your shows."
And then we
because it
started-
resonates, because you're centered ground. You're centered. You're not wokeism. At the same time, you're not ahi right,
Yeah.
and you're not
Feel like
fake.
people will
You're
say
real
they are.
talk.
You
You're
know?
real talk.
Yeah.
And if people actually listen, this is the key thing.
And not clips.
Listen, not clips.
Not clips that
and the
people
other thing
make
which
up.
is important, right? And something very important, especially in the manosphere, Muslim manosphere, evidence-based, not jumping onto the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Evidence-based.
Great advice.
Again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Friends, listeners, help us out on patreon.com/the Mad Mamluks. We're trying to upgrade some of the equipment here. Some of it got knocked out during a recent storm. Help us rebuild. We thank our existing patrons for their continued support over the years, and make sure you comment on the comment section below and give us your thoughts on this episode today. We'll see you all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
So,
Thank you guys. How are the comments?